Hi, welcome to PD4 for Teacher 101. It's dedicated to my grandfather, Charles Molnar. The subject of this training concerns students with interrupted and or limited and or intermittent formal education. Students who are perhaps 2 years plus behind those of their peers. We have had an influx of these students for over 100 years. My grandfather, there he is, okay, that's when he was 24. He was a SLIFE student. After the war to end all wars, excuse my voice, he came to America with his mother. He would have been a middle school student. But after living in a barn from sheer poverty and his mother working as a cleaning lady, after they came here through Ellis Island, where he was, just as an aside, quarantined. They thought they'd send him back. They thought he had smallpox, but he was simply suffering from severe food allergies and actually was put in the almost like a cell in the ship. And he had to stay in there once these allergic reactions occurred on his way over from Cherbourg. It took 2 attempts to come to the United States, the last, the second being successful. His mother was left a widow. 23-year-old husband fought for our enemy, the Austro-Hungarian Empire. And after the devastation of the war, the breakup of the empire and the arrangement of all Europe and a lot of the world, my great-grandmother had the courage to go against all odds and come to the United States of America. I do not think that I have that bravery, that courage, but she wanted a better life for my grandfather. Now, my grandfather was a SLIFE student for sure. After leaving Milwaukee, because it didn't work out there, they came to Brooklyn. And that was the first time that my grandfather was put in school, and they put him in kindergarten because he couldn't speak English well enough. Well, how could he learn if he was living in a barn? Actually, that was his house. His home was in the barn because the family said we don't have room for him in home. Just horrible. Anyway, America has improved education tremendously for our SLIFE students. My grandfather would probably be amazed at how educated and successful his grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and his daughters became in America. It's humbling just to think about this. So every time I think about leaving education, I think about my grandfather, Charles Molnar, Karoli Molnar. He grew up in Ungvar, and I think that's part of the Ukraine now. And my grandmother was from, her family came from Szeged, but it's been a long journey for millions of people and a very difficult journey. Now, having a grandfather who was a SLIFE student, never graduated from school, walked out of the kindergarten, it was just terrible for him. Who would stay? He became a pipe fitter and for 40 years worked in a huge factory as a pipe fitter with a team of guys from Hungary. And I grew up in a home where multiple languages, in my grandparents' home were spoken, and my grandmother spoke 5 languages. And she only graduated from the 8th grade. So we as teachers now, my grandfather was born in 1907, and he became a citizen after having lived in the United States for more than 10 years. But he became a citizen, and the date on this is all, I'm going to bring it up real close. Okay, so you can see. Okay. He became a citizen on the 11th of June in 1931. And that was just a couple months around the time that his oldest child, his daughter, was born. He and my grandmother had 3 girls. He said he was a millionaire 3 times over because he had 3 wonderful daughters. Positive, wonderful person he was. Now, this was he went to a common police court in New Brunswick, New Jersey, and his certificate of citizenship, after having lived here for a number of years, was petition number 14,640, but his citizenship number was 3,468,690. So I want to be very clear that my grandfather was not a citizen of our nation, the United States of America, for a really long time. Then he became a citizen. These students that come to our classroom, who are SLIFE students, like my grandfather, require a lot of care, compassion, patience, and skills from us as their teachers. I did some research here and here about the refugee crisis within our world. And at the current time, the UN's refugee agency estimates that there are, at the end of 2025 to be specific, approximately 45 million refugees under the age of 18 worldwide. They have a plan, I think it goes to 2030. They need so many teachers that it's impractical. It's just a pipe dream. They want to recruit as many teachers as there are in Europe and America combined to work just with this population. Not going to work. They need a complete redesign. And I think that's why we have the internet, Zoom, and Google Meet in ways of having massive classrooms for instruction. Anyway, I digress. When these students come in your classroom, you need to have them tested in their first language, in their math skills, and to see if they're literate in their first language. Many of your students will not be able to read and write in their first language because they have been refugees for so many years. After that is completed, you need to, and I know it's difficult, but you're going to have to come up with an individual plan for each child or in a small group. This is the most difficult part of teaching because you have to devise and come up with and design a plan for these students, our SLIFE students, that may be placed in your classroom who have a totally separate and different skill base because they've been refugees and they haven't been in school and they don't have the skills to transfer, and we have to build them. I have a wonderful experience with, I think, the most important and beneficial, effective, and realistic training program for sheltered English instruction. And it's free, 15 hours for free online. And you can take screenshots. It's wonderful. It was designed between Stockton University in New Jersey and the New Jersey Department of Education. It's self-paced. Also, WIDA has wonderful self-paced training programs to help teachers. I believe that you cannot be an effective teacher and feel that you're fulfilling, it is a duty when you're a teacher to help these children to succeed. If you aren't trained, it's an impossibility. So I would like for you to participate in this training through WIDA and through the SRI ETTC. I'm going to put the links in the statement that goes along with the video, the description. I will also be including other resources. Based upon the language, there's going to be different ways of transference. If you speak, we have English, which is actually a Creole language. American English is a Creole language. If you have Spanish-speaking students, Italian-speaking students, you're going to have them transfer over a lot quicker because of similarities of cognates. Our French-speaking students, our perhaps even our Haitian Creole students, because they're familiar with the French language. However, if you have refugees, our SLIFE students that come to the United States and they go to our schools or any school worldwide and they speak Arabic, you're not going to have that transference. If they speak Bengali, you're not going to have it. In fact, I made a list here of the nations where the refugee camps are the largest, the 10 largest refugee camps in the world. Turkey has this model program. I've been researching it. It's wonderful. They have 3.2 million refugees, all of them not children. So we have Turkey, Tanzania, Pakistan, Ethiopia, South Sudan, seven nations in Central America, Bangladesh, Chad, Kenya, Uganda, and Ukraine. The nations that have in Central America the largest proportion of refugees would be Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, Costa Rica, Belize, Honduras, and Panama. I mentioned Jordan. Jordan's included, I'm sorry. So these settlements or camps have a lot of knowledge being shared about them by organizations named Refugee Point, UN Refugee Agency, the Forced Migration Review, and the Migration Policy Institute, the UNHCR, which is their, as again I mentioned before, their refugee special area and expertise. They did come up with a document, but it has to be like tweaked because they're never going to recruit that many teachers. It's an impossibility. We need to be more pragmatic about this. And I think there's a better way to go about it with the institution of digital learning. I mean, if a news agency can broadcast from these areas, why can't children learn that way too? Right? It's just realistic. So our SIFE and SLIFE students traditionally, for the definition, have greater or equal to 2 years missing of school, and they're behind in their learning. They've suffered from war, poverty, and migration, and that was my grandfather, Kalale Charles Molnar. So I would like to really impress upon you to take the WIDA trainings and also to participate in the sheltered English instruction training through the combined efforts of the New Jersey Department of Education and Stockton University's SRI ETTC. I will put them in as links to help you. I'm going to be working more on this, coming up with some action plans for the classroom and basic skills development programs that I think could be really effective. The best program that I found for this, they don't make anymore. I have copies. It's called Access for Newcomers. If you can find it, it's great. If I can attach what I have as a PDF, I'm going to try to do that for you. But thank you for staying with me on this video. And the last thing I want to share with you is what I called the tree. I was drawing this yesterday and the day before, and I want to try to develop something called the tree. This is a model of a computer program. Everybody designs them differently, and it comes from the top up. And every limb will be a nation, and I'm not the greatest artist. And every leaf is going to be an area of a settlement or camp. And maybe we can work together, not only in our classrooms, for the children when they come to United States and other nations, so that they can catch up and be happy, joyous adults and reach self-sufficiency and have wonderful lives after the ordeal they went through. Just like my loving grandfather. And I chose the tree to call it, okay? I call it the tree because tree is symbolic throughout the world for many things. And a tree is symbolic for concepts, ideas, love, way of life, a code of life, creation, career, faithfulness, energy, life, growth, protection, power, and the blessings of God. Whatever your faith is, the blessings that we need to give these children cannot be counted. So I hope that you'll engage yourselves in those trainings and think about how we can maybe come together to have a better plan for these students. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day, a week, an academic year. Thank you. Bye-bye.